Hello, Klaus here, and welcome back to yet another video here at the channel. In today's video, I'll show you how you could do this product shot I used in some of my previous videos and for my VHS pack volume 2. If you didn't get that, you can get that for free, link down in the description below. Anyhow, I'll show you how you can do this effect shot looking exactly like this, but you can use different products and different things. It's super easy to make this inside of DaVinci Resolve, and in fact you can get away with just using a photo and some kind of a background, which is going to make this effect very easy. Of course, I am using the studio version of DaVinci Resolve and the magic mask. However, this effect can be achieved without using the magic mask. And, I'll just briefly touch upon that in the tutorial as well. So without further ado, let's get right to the video. Okay, so here we are in DaVinci Resolve, and for this tutorial we are going to use a photo, and I have here a background explosion of milk and yogurt, I think. It's from Storyblocks, but you can find stuff like that on the net or other places. So that's what we're going to use for this tutorial. Before we go into the animation itself or how we are going to achieve this by using the magic mask, I am just going to touch upon how to do that if you are not using the studio version. And you can do the exact same thing if you do not have the studio version. Instead of doing the magic mask, you can go into the color and simply just click right here and then use a mask and then mask out the box. And I did do a pretty in-depth tutorial about that, so you can check that out right up here in the top corner. So let's just jump back here to the editing tab, and I'm going to take my clip here of the VHS pack, and I'm going to mask everything out using magic mask. But before I do that, I'm going to select my clip here, and I'll go up to the inspector, and in the inspector I'm going to go into the composite mode here, and I'm going to take the opacity and put that all the way down here so I can have an idea of how big the box is. And the main reason I am doing this step first is if you just went into the color page and did the magic mask, every time you do a movement on the box, it's going to disappear and you have to track the magic mask once again. So that's why I'm first going to make the movement I want for my box before applying the magic mask. Okay, so let's just zoom this down quite a bit. I want this to be around the same size as the milk splash. And I'm just going to click here in the transform. So I'm going to move everything around, and also think I might as well take a little bit with the rotation. And then, I'll just go for the end of the clip. There. And when we are at the end, I want this to be zoomed all the way up, and I want the rotation to be kind of like here, I think. So let's see what we have. I can just go in here now just to see the movement and go into the composite mode and then take the opacity all the way up. So we can just see the movement we are doing. Pretty simple, nothing too fancy. Cool. Okay, so let's just jump into the color page. And in the color page, we're going to take this clip here. I'm just going to put down my LUT browser. And we're simply just going to go into the magic mask. And in this case, we're using the new one, which is the object. And I also think that is pretty good. So I'm just going to highlight my box here, take some color like that, and then I can click here and I can see what I choose or what is being masked out. All of the box, lovely, just what I want. And I'm just going to push this forward and backward button like so. And then it's just going to track that super fast. And it's really super fast at tracking, at least on my machine here, which is a Mac, but nevertheless DaVinci is pretty good at this. So I'm going to right click up here and I'm going to add an alpha output because I want this to be overlapping at my background. So let's see what we have. So this is what we have now. Super fast, super easy. Also, if you want this to be even better, because as you can see, there is some small portions here around the corners that's not super good. It might be very good to change the quality of the magic mask from fast to better. And I can just super quickly do that. And it's just going to do this super fast again. It is a pretty short clip anyway, so it's not going to take that long. And also think this is a new thing, this with the remaining time. I think that is a new thing in the version of DaVinci. I mean, I don't recall that it was there before. Anyway, done. And let's have a look. Well, that's way better. So to make this effect a little better, I might as well add in some motion blur to the clip. So I'll go up to Effects, and I'll go into Open Effects. And I'm just going to search for motion blur. So we have here a motion blur, and I'm going to put in the motion blur on the top clip. And now it disappeared. And that is just the problem we sometimes have when adding effects onto the magic mask. So what we need to do is just to go back and very fastly retrack everything because I added in an effect. Yeah, it is how magic mask works, but if you know that, you would just add the effects before and everything would be just great. Again, the tracking is super fast. It's a super fast clip, a small clip. So here we go, back. And we added in the motion blur, and we could then add in a little more. So you see, every time I change things, it just drops the magic mask and you have to retrack it. And this can be a little bit irritating, so that's why you want to do all the movement, all of the adding of things beforehand, because it's just going to make it a bit easier, I think. But anyways, that is basically how you do this effect super fast and I think relatively easy. And of course you could add in other backgrounds, other things, but mainly this is it. And of course you could add in shadows and stuff like that as well, which would maybe sell the effect a little bit better, but that is for another tutorial, I do believe. Anyway, I do hope you found this video useful. If you did, please hit that subscribe button, give the video a like, share it with your friends if you think it would help them out, and if you want to be notified every time there's a new video on this channel, please hit that bell icon down in the corner. Until next time, keep filming, keep learning, and keep sharing.